enjoy the program. Oh yeah, I was doing a party in Houston, Texas. I transferred up to Oakland. I was in Oakland for about 6 years. I started a chapter in Las Vegas in 1978. So now I'm going to turn it all over to my sister love, Lauren.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lauren Williams Jackson, and I joined the party in 68, about 68. There was this cute guy, and he started talking to me, brought me to the rally. But that's okay, because the political education classes we had made it all for real. So we understood what we were supposed to be doing. And so through that, it wasn't, learned a lot. And one of the things that I was proud of is a lot of the work that I did was one, typing and working with other sisters on the Black Panther newspaper. So a lot of those papers, I put the little words in, we put in those words, me, Candy, Kathy Harris. And the other thing is that I was the first official party member to be a photographer for the party. And that came about because I was questioning why we didn't have any black folks taking our pictures. And they said, well, who's going to do it? I said, I will. Wow. But anyway, so that's how that started. But
she was good at it. She was good at it too.
So anyway, again, welcome. And so we're going to go. Frank Kellum, is that you sitting there? Hiding. All right, one of the teachers from the Oakland Community School, another proud program that we started, and that also set for a lot of standards for other schools. One of the things that impressed me, because for a short time I was a teacher there, supposedly a teacher, but I did it mostly the driving, was that they would send children would come and they were getting kicked out of other schools. And so after working with the children, I was saying, well, why were they getting kicked out of the schools? Because everybody said they were bad children. But we didn't think they were bad. They seemed like they were learning, they were smart, they wanted to learn. So I guess it was the environment. If you're in a hostile environment, it's hard for you to learn. When you're working with people who don't care about you, they don't care if you learn or not, it must be hard. But when you came to the Oakland Community School, Erica Huggins, she's out there, and some other teachers, hey, it was an environment that said we wanted you to live, we wanted you to learn. So party did a lot there. Okay. Am I going what? Is Jill Vest here? Nope. Don't think so. So now we are going to bring up Dr. Small. Was he here? We'll bring up Bernie. Is Bernie here? She works with Dr. Small, and she'll give you that history for our first.
Yeah, and Dr. Small, for those that don't know, Dr. Small helped us set up our sickle cell anemia program, testing program, which was the first in the country. It was started by the Black Panther Party. He helped us set up the clinic in Berkeley, George Jackson Clinic. He also, when Nixon went to China, Huey Newton said, well, you know what? I'm going to get there first. So he went to China, met with members of the Central Committee, Chow and Lao. He left a letter there for them to give to Nixon, talking about the racism and all the things, oppression in this country. After Huey came back, we sent a delegation to China, which Dr. Small was a part of that delegation. And they brought back acupuncture. The party was the first in the country to practice acupuncture. And it was Dr. Small and his group of physicians and party members that perform acupuncture. And so I'll turn it over to Bernie.
Thank you so much, Sean. Hey, y'all. All power to the people. My name is Bernie Lim. I'm the founder of the Freedom Community Clinic. I'm also finishing up medical school at UCSF School of Medicine. I know, about to be a doctor soon. But we are so grateful to be here on behalf of the Freedom Community Clinic, because all that we do at the Freedom Community Clinic is we believe in the whole person healing for the people, bringing our healing directly to the people. And our legacy is founded by the Black Panther Party, is founded by the community clinics, by the example of Dr. Small and so many of the doctors and nurses and community health educators that really believe that sometimes the medical system wasn't really serving the people that it should be. It was forcibly bringing violence, it was taking advantage of Black and brown people, and really the mission was to bring healing back to the people. It was bringing the medicines and the traditional ancestral healing back to the people. And so I remember I would be with Dr. Small in his garage. We would look at the archives of all of the work that he's done in China, bringing acupuncture back to the people. And we just want to let y'all know that the work of the Panthers is still going. And we are one of those examples. And I just want everyone who's part of the Freedom Community Clinic team to raise their hands, make some noise. Yeah. So really what we do again is we bring whole person healing back to the people. We started 2 years ago. We were in car trunks. We were in garages. Y'all remember that? Sabrina called me out. And we would go to parks just like we were here a year ago during the Black Lives Matter movement as it continued. We were in San Antonio Park. We were in freeway underpasses, youth centers, because we believe that healing happens in places where communities gather and they celebrate and they trust. And so when we say whole person healing, we mean the body, the mind, and the spirit. So it's not just about, invasive surgeries and drugs. It's about traditional ancestral healing. So I just want to shout out some of the free healing that y'all can get today. Really, y'all, is for free. It's all prioritizing Black, Indigenous, and documented communities always. So we got massage therapy, massage therapists, yes, body workers. We got traditional energy cleansing, so Reiki. We got blood pressure checks, health education. We also got acupuncture. Tiff, where you at? Tiff somewhere. Oh, there she is. And we also got some tie-dye as well as some tote bags where you could basically, we believe art is medicine too, so we got different designs that honor the Panthers, that honor healing as freedom. And so, yeah, all of this is free. Again, we really believe in bringing healing back to the people. So 2 years ago, we were in car trunks. Now, we actually have 2 community healing sanctuaries right on 32nd and Telegraph. And we also got a community healing sanctuary with UC Berkeley. We're funneling all the institutional money back to healing for the people, okay? Yes. So again, we're really dedicated to bring this whole person healing back to the people. Please allow us to serve you, allow us to really show you how we believe that healing is part of the revolution, healing is part of freedom. When we come back to our bodies, we come back to our purpose in life. And we believe that this is especially meaningful for people who have not been able to do that. So thank you so much for having us here, and all power to the people.
Give her one more hand, please. All right. We have seats up here if anybody would like to sit down. Okay. And our next person that we want to bring up is Emory Douglas, Ministry of Culture. It's been a long time, I might forget some of the titles. Minister Emory is special. If you've ever looked at any Black Panther newspaper that was printed, you know those pictures on the back? That was him. That was his work. Every week he had a picture, something different that had to do with whatever was going on at the times. And since that time, he has become an ambassador for the Black Panther Party. People, the 10-point platform program that was written in 1966, oppressed people around the world are still calling for that platform because they can relate to it. So that means we wrote something, they wrote something in 1966, and the people still say it is appropriate, it applies to today, okay? So Emory goes around and they invite him. He always does something for the children because he's very much into the young people. The youth is our future, correct? And then he gives his talk about the Black Panther Party. So we have Black Panther Party offices, that's what they call themselves, Sweden, right? Australia, I mean, all over. Who would ever thought Sweden? Not me anyway. But I mean, that's the thing, because there are oppressed people all over the world. So, without further ado, one moment.
I just want to say one word. Emory, we all know he's an amazing artist, but one of the amazing things he would do, the pictures on the back of the paper that he did every week, he did them that week. It's not like he had these photos or these drawings stashed away. He said, okay, I'll do it. Every week, whatever was going on with oppressed people in this country, Emory would come up with a new drawing for the back of the paper. So without further ado, our comrade, the Minister of Culture of the Black Panther Party, Emory Douglas.
Well, all power to the people. First, I would like to acknowledge the land that the indigenous, Aboriginal, indigenous land that we're on, the Ohlone people, tribes we're from Bay Area all the way down to the end of California. And I want to acknowledge Sister Charlotte, who spoke earlier. I recall I was assigned to go to travel with Kathleen Cleaver to meet Eldridge Cleaver in Algeria when we were setting up the international chapter. And unfortunately, we were invited to participate in the first Pan-African Cultural Festival there. That's when they had all the African countries came from all over Africa, and parades and what have you. It was there during that time, and we were invited to participate during that time. We also, that's when we found out in the second trip with another comrade went and they would have a matter of fact, the Palestinians were having a symposium, and Yasser Arafat then was there. And so through the connections that had been set up between Kathleen and Eldridge Cleaver once he got there, we were able to go to that symposium, and that was our first meeting with Yasser Arafat. And as mentioned, all the other, unfortunately, I missed Sister Charlotte and Pete because that was my last trip. That was my last trip. After the fourth trip, they were just coming in when I was leaving out. But they have an amazing program, Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. When you go into town, you see people, young people, saying, hey, Brother Pete, hey, Brother Sister Charlotte. And you ask who that is? No, they were students at the school. Amazing. 2, 3, 4 generations. You go to the stores where they got the store. They get anything they want at the store and pay whenever they can. Amazing. It's just amazing the kind of relationship that they have there in Tanzania. It's genuine, unconditional love. You go into the kiosk, what do you call it, in the circle? When you go into town, you see these amazing artwork around there. Sister Charlotte contributed to that with some other well-known Tanzanian artists during that time. So it's amazing, beautiful. I encourage, if you can go, please do go. First, also, I want to acknowledge Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, because for their courage, because they could have been wiped out before it got off the ground. So you have to acknowledge their courage in relationship to putting together the 10-point platform and program that all of us were inspired by, to be inspired by. Also, I want to acknowledge the political prisoners that are still incarcerated today in the Black Panther Party. You have 8 political prisoners, or 9 political prisoners who are still held captive in the prisons. You have Ed Pondexter, and I get the date that they entered, 8/1970. You have Joseph Bowen, 2/1971. You have Russell Maroon Schultz, 10/1972. You have Sundiata Ecoli, 5/1973. You have Veronza Bowers Jr., 9/1973. You have Kenny Zulu Whitemore, 3, 1978. You have Mamuya Abu Jamal, 7, 1982. You have Jamul Alamin, 3, 2000. And you have Freddie Kamu Sadiki Hilton, 10, 2002. But I also would like to mention AIM, an American Indian comrade, Leonard Peltier, 6, 1977. So we have political prisoners who've been in the year over 800 years incarcerated, in bad health, have all kinds of health problems, can't get out, won't let them out. Some of them have been given parole dates, or not given dates, been given okay for parole and can't get out. So it's up to us to make sure that we continue whatever social justice work we do to acknowledge these brothers and these sisters and those who are still incarcerated. Because if we don't do it, who's gonna do it?
All the truckers have shut down all the ports in this whole country based on the 40-day prophecy that preached Leonard Peltier and the rest of these brothers and sisters.
Yes. And also those who have joined the ancestors while in captivity. You know, Kawasi Balagoon, who 1981 to 1986. You have Warren Wells, 1981, 2001. You have Bashir Ahmed, 1982, 2008. You have Teddy Jah Heat, 1973, 2001. Albert Noah Washington, 1971, 2000. Mando Wee Langa, 1970, 2016. Abdullah Amin, 1982, 2016. Romain Ship Fitzgerald, 1969 to 3/20/21. Over 50 years. Over 50 years in the prison. You get pedophiles and all this other reactionary getting out of prison. Murderers getting out of prison.
Because they run DC.
So we have to continue to struggle. We have to continue to fight for our political prisoners. The last thing I want to say is that I became a member of the Black Panther Party in about 3 months after inception in late January of 1967. And going fast forward, I started working on the paper when the paper first started in April of 1968, which was a legal size sheet of paper like this, with Bobby Seale had did the headlines, and Elwood Big Man Hunter had done the typing. And I seen that paper being produced, and I told him I could help him improve that. And then I'll go home, get my art supplies, and come back. He said, well, we're finished with that, but we're gonna start our paper. And it's gonna be to tell our story from our own perspective. It'd be like a double-edged sword. They can praise you on the one hand and criticize you on the other. And so that was when they said, well, you seem to be committed because you come around. So you would be the revolutionary artist, and then you become the minister of culture. So that was how I became involved with the Black Panther Party and able to contribute and use my work in service of the community. Thank you.
All right.
They asked me to tell them about the first pig going, because that became symbolic. Now how that first happened was that we were working on, well, before we even had a headquarters, we used to work out of Eldridge Cleaver studio apartment in San Francisco, when you and them had been recruiting Eldridge Cleaver to be the writer for the newspaper, the Minister of Information. And they would come over and talk about how they stood down the pigs or what happened out in the community. So one evening, Hugh and Bobby brought this clip art of this pig on 4 hooks, and I had cleaned it up. And they said, we want to put the badge of the police who are harassing and intimidating people in the community each week, so the people would know who that was. And so thereafter, I thought about it, and I said, well, why don't I stand it up on 2 hooks, keep the snort, keep the badge, and put the gun, and had the flies coming around it. So that became the pig drawing. That became transcended the Black Panther Party, and became an international symbol of those who were repressing us. And matter of fact, the first badge number that was on the pig drawing was the police that when Huey Newton got shot, he got killed. Because he was notoriously known in the black community during that time.
One of the things that I think is very significant, the Black Panther newspaper, from the time it started, every week it came out, no matter what was happening in the party, no matter how many leaders or party members were arrested, etc. Every week it came out. And some of your family members may remember, if they had a subscription, even when they called us and asked us to stop sending it, it still came out every week, probably until, 75, 78, but every week, coast to coast. Okay, our next person is Miss Jill Best. She's with the Black Women's Mural Project. Hi everybody, how y'all doing today? A little bit louder. We're all powerful people, all powerful people. My name is Jill Christina Vest, and I own a home in West Oakland, about 10 blocks from here, where I commissioned and directed the Women of the Black Panther Party mural on the side of my home. And then later after that, once the mural was painted, I turned my first floor into the mini museum for the Black Panther Party. And it's been pretty powerful and amazing. It's from what I've been told, the first permanent installation that honors not only the women, but honors the Black Panther Party, period. And the mini museum is permanent. You can come and see it whenever you'd like. You can go to West Oakland Mural Project, which is the website for any more information. And tomorrow it's going to be free. The museum's free all day today. The museum's free all day tomorrow. Other than that, you can book an appointment online for whatever works for you when you're back in town, or if you're locals. Hopefully there's a lot of community here. I hope there's a lot of community members here. And I just want to say that, the mural was created last summer in response to the rebellions that were happening, and my need and want to participate in the rebellions, but not feeling that I had the access to go to the streets. And also feeling that going to the streets was going to aggravate the rage and the grief that I was feeling. And what was really important for me is I wanted to do something that was going to balance that rage and grief, and the balance of that suffering that I was feeling and so many of us were feeling was joy. And so I decided to do something that celebrated the visibility of Black women. And I said, if it's going to bring me joy, I need to create something that brings my community joy as well. And talk to my community and talk to all of my neighbors and showed them pictures of what I was thinking about and letting them know, is this okay with you? If I do this, it's going to change our block. It's going to change everything. Is that okay? And they were all for it, and they were with me from step by step from the beginning. And they have witnessed the joy that the mural has brought, and it has healed me, it has healed my block, and it's healed the community. And we've had people come from as far as Canada so far and across the United States, and I see your hoodie on. And it's been just a beautiful, amazing experience. So I definitely recommend everybody, if you can, come by 9th and Center to the Women of Black Panther Party mural. If you have a moment to come by the mini museum. It's something where you're going to learn a lot about the community programs, the survival programs that aren't usually highlighted. We've had groups of 42 fourth graders came by one day and used the activity book that we created for the mural. They had finished an entire unit on the Black Panther Party using that activity book, and Miss Erica Huggins and I were there. There wasn't one question that we asked those fourth graders that they didn't know the answer to. And it was so inspiring and so amazing, and juxtaposed to a group of high schoolers that came by a couple weeks ago, and 3 of the young Black men had no idea that the Black Panther Party was born in Oakland. And these were born and raised Black boys in Oakland. So it's really just a change of what people know. So my purpose is to heal the community and bring this information to the community and involve us in it, and to complete the narrative of the Black Panther Party and complete the other side of the story that the media didn't tell anybody. And so much of that has to do with the women, and so much of that has to do with the survival programs, and the majority of it has to do with
understanding and acknowledging that you all, the Panthers here, in my opinion, were the greatest group of humanitarians that have ever existed in the entire world. And that's who I'm here to honor. Thank you.
Give it up to Jill. And it's a beautiful, beautiful mural. If you get a chance to go visit, it's on 9th and Center. And we're going to take a 10-minute break. We're going to play some music. We also have Erica Huggins has a table set up over here about the Oakland Community School. And we also have an exhibit inside the library, which is right across the street. So I hope you enjoy the program. We'll be back in 10 minutes. All power to the people.
We have a great show for you, so don't go far. Okay, so what do you think of the first part of our program? I can't hear you. All right, here we go. We'd like to introduce to you right now City Council person Carolyn Fife, and after that, our very own Aaron Dixon will present our next part of the program. Thank you.
Give her a hand.
Oh, yeah. Let's give a hand to the resistance of the party. Let's give a hand to the example of the party. I only hope that I can be an appendage and an extension of what they were able to do as an example for what resistance should and continue to be today. I don't need applause. I need assistance. That's what I need. I need assistance for a Black New Deal. I need assistance to stop the push out of Black people from this city. I need assistance for economic development. I need assistance to make the 10-point program real in 2021. That is what I need. I don't need applause. I need help. So with that, it is my honor as the elected representative of this district of West Oakland and the entire District 3 to present this resolution from the Oakland City Council. And I just want to read that to you all today. So this resolution is in celebration of the Black Panther Party's 55th anniversary and honoring the party's years of service to the residents of the city of Oakland. Whereas the originally named Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was founded 55 years ago in October 1966 by two college students, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, to take a stand against the brutal treatment and oppression of Black people that was suffered on a daily basis. Whereas the guiding principles of the Black Panther Party was the 10-point program and platform, which addressed freedom, full employment, ending capitalist robbery of Black communities, decent housing and education, exempting Black men from military service, an immediate end to police brutality and murder of Black people, freedom for all Black men held in prisons, fair trials for Black people before a jury of their peer group, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, peace, and a United Nations supervised plebiscite for advancing self-determination for Black people. Whereas in 1967, the Black Panther Party established its own newspaper to educate the community. The Black Panther newspaper became the #1 weekly Black newspaper in America, exceeding 250,000 in circulation. Whereas the rank and file members of the Black Panther Party were the backbone of the Black Panther Party during the daily work, such as selling the Black Panther newspaper, cooking for and feeding children, and learning lifelong lessons through political education. The thousands of members became a force for social change, fighting corruption. They were jailed and slandered in the press. While serving the people, body and soul, many of the rank and file members became political prisoners or sacrificed their lives, just like right here with Bobby Hutton Park. Whereas the Black Panther Party took political stands against racism, war, and oppression, they became known worldwide for providing over 60 programs that embodied survival pending revolution, such as free breakfast for children, the People's Free Food Program, People's Free Health Clinics, free sickle cell testing, free busing to prison program, People's Free Clothing and Shoes Program, and the longest held program, the Oakland Community School, which exemplified educate to liberate and the undying principle to serve the people. Whereas the legacy of the Black Panther Party lives on in many ways, such as the national requirement to provide free breakfasts and lunches for children in public schools nationwide, sickle cell testing, and 55 years later, the clarion call for all power to the people. Therefore, let it be resolved that on this day, October 23rd, 2021, is recognized and proclaimed as Black Panther Party 55th Anniversary Day throughout District 3 and the city of Oakland. All power to the people.
Hey, one more round of applause for our city councilwoman. All right, we're gonna keep everything rolling. I want to introduce my comrade, Aaron Dixon. He originally formed the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party. He also works in Oakland. He has a very nice presentation for us, and he's going to take over right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so beautiful to see so many people out here in such a wonderful program. Well, next up, we are going to bring the Palestinian youth movement up. And the Black Panther Party, as Charlotte mentioned, we were an international organization. And we've always had strong ties with all the revolutionary movements of the world. One of the strongest ties we had was with the Palestinian movement. And Arafat has met Huey. Arafat has met Eldridge and many of the members of the international delegation. And so at this moment, right now, the Palestinian movement is one of the most important international movements in the world. And the Black Lives Matter and the Palestinian movement showed solidarity over the last couple of years in the uprisings that took place. And so we felt it was very important to have members of the Palestinian movement come up and talk about the movement in Palestine. I have visited Palestine, Emory Douglas has visited Palestine, and other party members have visited Palestine. And I would encourage many of you to visit Palestine so that you can see what their struggle is all about and what's taking place. So without further ado, I am going to introduce Aisha and Eva and Aliyah.
Thank you, Aaron. Hello, everyone. My name is Aisha Monsoor. I'm a founder of Palestiniyat and a new member of the Palestinian Youth Movement, and I'm really, really honored to be here with you all today. Just a little introduction about myself. I recently moved to the Bay Area. I am a new grad student at San Francisco State studying race and resistance. I designed my undergraduate degree as Palestinian resistance studies, so you could say resistance is my forte. And I come from a long lineage of resistance. I was named after my grandmother, who was martyred right before I was born. And my father has been in jail 6 different times for his resistance work. He's been shot twice, he's been tortured. I have martyrs in my family, and I say this because I think it's really important that, like, not only do I remember and honor their struggle and their sacrifice, but I also uphold the responsibility to continue that lineage of resistance work. So I'm happy to be here, I'm happy to be doing this, and I'm happy to be talking to y'all today. So thank you.
Hey y'all, I'm Yvette from the Palestinian Youth Movement. I'm really honored to be here as well. Yeah, I've grown up in the Bay Area my whole life, and my family has been part of protests, and we always hear the stories from my grandparents and how they were displaced in Palestine, and it's kind of what brought us to this. So my sister and I are really active in the Palestinian Youth Movement, and yeah, just hearing these stories from our grandparents and understanding their struggle just made us want to participate. And it's really great to be here with everyone and see the hope and, you know, joint struggle and solidarity with each other. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alia. I'm also with Palestinians. We're actually based in Seattle. We're a Palestinian feminist organization. I also recently moved to Oakland. I'm honored to be here in my first month with you all. And also a recent member of the Palestinian youth movement, which has been an incredible and powerful experience connecting with other Palestinians across the diaspora. Similar to Aisha and Iba, my family is Palestinian. My dad was raised in a Palestinian refugee camp in Jordan. We have political prisoners in our family. We have freedom fighters in the first and second Intifadas. I've never been to Palestine. I tried. I was detained and deported by the state of Israel, and that only made my fight stronger. And so I'm excited to be here and share a little bit about what we fight for with you all. And actually, I'm going first, so. So, to be here right now, we want to draw your attention to a fight that's been happening this year. It's an intifada that Palestinians have been engaged in Palestine, and that our people are fighting right now in Palestine and in the diaspora, called the Unity Intifada. And I'll talk a little bit about why it's called the Unity Intifada. So in March and April, their families in a city in Jerusalem called Sheikh Jarrah were facing eviction by the Israeli government. And they were being told that they were given an amount of time to be evicted from their homes in Jerusalem where they had been living. This year, protests against those evictions broke out during the month of Ramadan, and they were faced with extreme backlash from the Israeli military, from the Israeli government, and from Israeli settlers. There were live streams coming out of Sheikh Jarrah every day, and everyone across the world could see Israeli settlers storming the streets of Sheikh Jarrah with guns, with ammunition, with arms. They were bringing politicians who actively called for the death of Palestinians and actively advocated for the genocide of all Arabs. The Israeli military closed down the streets of Sheikh Jarrah, so it made it really difficult mobility-wise for Palestinians living inside of Sheikh Jarrah. At the same time, on the last Friday of Ramadan, which is an extremely holy day, Israeli settlers stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque during prayer, and threw stun grenades, through flash bombs, were shooting live ammunition during an extremely, extremely sacred day. So, as Palestinians, when we're met with violence, we fight back. So what happened? This galvanized Palestinians across Palestine, across the West Bank, in Jerusalem, in Gaza, where the forms and the system of occupation are really different. But everybody knows that as indigenous Palestinians, this is our land. And so Palestinians across Palestine were united and in fighting against the Israeli occupation and increasing settler violence. And we actually saw, not just inside of Palestine, we saw displaced Palestinians in Jordan, in Lebanon, storming the borders and crossing the Israeli border. There's actually a video one day of 30,000 Palestinians crossing from the Jordanian border at Sheikh Hussein into Palestine, which is where my family's been detained and turned back. And they went through it. I can't tell you how powerful, I think about the moment all the time. We also saw across the world, Palestinians in the diaspora standing up and fighting back. And we saw a momentum we've never seen before in the United States, in the United States, but globally. A united front to call for Palestinian liberation, because the message became clear that Israel exists in so many different ways, in so many different places, even if it's not the name Israel. And we're all fighting against our own Israel. We're all fighting our own intifada. And so the Unity Intifada spread from inside of Palestine, from Jerusalem, from Gaza, all the way out to our smallest town in Seattle. And I want to shout out one of our comrades, Ed Hampton. I don't know where he is. Hey, Ed. Ed Ed carried the movement with us in Seattle. We attribute so much to Ed and our comrades in Seattle to keeping the movement going for Palestine, which has never happened before. So what we're learning, this is still happening, it's still ongoing. This isn't anything that stopped. We're carrying the movement in Washington, we're carrying it in California, and we're listening to the calls of our Palestinian families and cousins inside of occupied Palestine. But one thing's clear, there's not going to be peace as long as the state of Israel exists, and the Intifada will show itself in so many ways, in so many movements, and it truly will stay a unity Intifada because we'll be unified in the struggle that we're in together. And so I'm going to pass it to Iba to talk a little bit more about some of our freedom fighters.
Thank you, Alia. Yeah, so again, so that was happening this summer, and to keep things going, this September, 6 Palestinians, Mahmoud Arda, Zakaria Zubaydi, Mohammed Arda, Yaqub Qadri, and Aham Kamanji successfully escaped from one of the highest security prisons in Israel, Gilboa prison, just using kitchen utensils and supplies. Most of them were sentenced to life in prison, and some of them had been there for 20 plus years. And we call them heroes, not prisoners, because in order to honor those who are detained and imprisoned, and they suffer extreme torture and horrible conditions in Israeli prisons. They're detained simply for speaking out against the Israeli occupation, demanding a free Palestine, and they're detained just for simply existing as Palestinians. They were captured 5 days later, but just the fact that they were able to escape unified people across Palestine, across the diaspora. They were celebrated in ways we've never seen before. It really brought hope and resistance, and just that spirit, it brought the spirit back across Palestine. The Israeli media tried again to divide Palestinians by claiming that the heroes weren't taken care of, that they were starving and looking for food. But the photos showed otherwise. It showed that they were clean-shaven, new clothes, and this is important because it shows that the Palestinians were taking care of them. So we don't forget about our heroes. We don't forget about the political prisoners. Yeah, so I wanted to share this poster that we have made. Yeah. So this, the last one was the color. So this poster we made, I took a screen printing class in order to make political posters. And one of my comrades and I made this poster in support of the political heroes. So it represents, this is the whole, we called it the tunnel of freedom that they escaped from. And the spoon became a symbol of resistance because it was presumed that they used the spoon to escape from the tunnel, from the prison. And these words here, so it's a really interesting story of way back when the occupation was first happening, back in 48 and before, when Palestinians were detained, the men and brothers and fathers were being detained. So the woman would sing Palestinian folk songs around the prisons. And the key thing about these Palestinian folk songs is that they were coded with messages on how to escape the prison. So the Israeli occupiers just think they're just random women walking around the prison singing. But they were actually coded messages, and they would put L's in between the words because the Israeli occupiers couldn't understand it. And then the red poppy symbolizes our martyrs because we always hold them up and honor them. And then Intifada, because long live the Intifada.
Thank you. I'll pass that.
Thank you. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Intifada, it means uprising. It's like our resistance movement. This was the third one that we've seen over the course of 70 years of occupation. So I think it's really important to root us in the theory behind the work that we do, because so much of our revolutionary language has been co-opted by neoliberals, right? So in the Palestinian youth movement and in Palestiniat, we don't say solidarity. We actually say joint struggle. Because when we say joint struggle, that means accountability. It shows the interconnectedness of our liberation struggles, right? When we say solidarity, it means I can deploy that when I see fit and I can hold back when I don't want to. And I think that it's important that we understand what joint struggle actually means, right? I think that we've heard that statement, right? Like, no one's free until we're all free. And we hear that all the time, but like, what does that actually mean, right? It means that our oppressors benefit off of the same systems to create a global world dominance over all third world people, right? So it's really important that when we say no one's free until we're all free, we understand that that means we actually are in struggle with one another, because if Palestine ain't free, then Black people in the United States ain't free, and vice versa. And we see how our oppressors exchange tactics, right? So we've been working on a campaign in Seattle. It's called End the Deadly Exchange. And End the Deadly Exchange, what it means is the deadly exchange between the state of Israel and the United States. The Seattle Police Department is sent to Israel to train, and specifically de-escalation and crowd control tactics, right? The need to neck position, that's a common tactic that the Israeli state uses on Palestinians. The day that George Floyd was killed in that position was the day that Iyad al-Halak in Palestine, who is a mentally disabled man, was also killed in the exact same strategy, right? So we know that these police officers, when they go to Israel, they're actually training at that prison that Yvette was just talking about. It's a high security prison. And the reason that this prison is so high security is because it's used to squash resistance fighters, okay? That's what the number one strategy of all the jailing systems in the world, in the United States and in Israel, is. It's not just for labor, right? They also want to make sure that we don't have the ability to liberate ourselves. So this prison, it's known for its torture tactics. It's known for its interrogation. It has a 99.9% conviction rate for Palestinians. And this is our Seattle police officers going over there to learn these strategies, to also come back and make sure they're using it on Black folks in our hometowns. So we're trying to end this. You know, we're defunding, we're demilitarizing, you know, we need to abolish is what we need to do, right? And we need to also remember that as our oppressors are learning strategies from one another, our resistance movements are also learning strategies from one another. When I was in Palestine during the war on Gaza, I think 2014, right? What was happening at the exact same moment was the war on Ferguson. I remember being in Palestine, and I was in the West Bank. So because it's an apartheid state, people in the West Bank can't travel to Gaza, even though both of them are Palestinian territories. So 24/7, we're watching the TV and we're watching the bombs being dropped in Gaza and flipping between two channels watching the war on Ferguson. I knew more about what was happening on the war on Ferguson when I was in Palestine than when I did when I came back to Seattle. You can imagine my surprise when I'm watching the TV and I'm seeing basically, you know, military machines, like tanks essentially, in the streets of Ferguson. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to come back to Seattle and we're gonna have, you know, military vehicles in our street. And everybody was nonchalant. It was like nothing was happening in Ferguson. People didn't give a rat's ass, excuse my language. And I remember being in the internet cafes and, sorry, do we have water? I was in the internet cafes and we were sending literal strategies back to folks in Ferguson, telling them how to deal with tear gas. For those of you who haven't tried it, onions. If you cut them in half, you put it and you smell it, it makes it makes you cry, but that is the only thing that actually helps with tear gas. I'll swear by it. And if, I don't think we've started using skunk spray in the United States, but if we ever use skunk spray in the United States, which is basically this chemical that they'll put on people who are protesting, it smells like raw sewage and decomposing bodies. The only way you can get that off of you is with raw tomatoes, right? And I say that because I bet you in 5 years, that's gonna be what you're gonna see on the streets here, right? So I think it's really important that we continue to engage in this joint struggle, that we tell each other our strategies, that we mobilize together, right? Because if we don't, we're gonna continue to be oppressed by the colonizers, by the white supremacists. I wanted to tell one quick story. We organized an action over the summer where we blocked a boat. And this boat was transporting Israeli goods. We think actually Israeli military weapons. And it was going between the Seattle harbor and Israel. So we blocked a boat. Shout out to Ed, helped us. He was there. Sorry, Ed. And when we had a mass arrest, right? 14 people were arrested, including my brother. The only person that they took to interrogation was my brother. And when they took him to interrogation, the scary questions that they asked him weren't how was your sister organizing, who was she connected to? It was, who's your family in Palestine? What political groups are they affiliated with? Because they know that they can't torture me here, but they can when I go back home, right? They can put me in jail. They know we have a 99.9% conviction rate. So there's no hope for me, right? Unless I literally dig a tunnel out from underneath the prison with a spoon, like these 6 freedom fighters did. And I just think that story really resembles the relationship between the state of Israel and the United States, and we remember that when we move forward and we interact with our police here, and we interact with, Zionism, which is in all of our spaces, right? Because it's white supremacy, and it sneaks in with this liberal language. Oh, we're the new indigenous people. I don't know that you can be a white settler and colonize a country and then all of a sudden claim indigeneity, but I guess that's what's been happening lately. I'm on a tangent. I really appreciate being here. Thank you all. If anybody has any questions, we're down to take them. If not, we can just get off and hand this over to the next person. No Q&A? Okay. You want to say something? Yeah.
We just wanted to share a chant with everyone, if we're all feeling a chant. Okay, so this chant is about our shared intifada. So it goes, Intifada, Intifada, long live the Intifada.
Intifada, Intifada,
Long live the Intifada. Intifada, Intifada,
long live the Intifada.
Intifada, Intifada.
Long live the Intifada.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Were you trying to leave before I got up here? You saw me stumbling up here. Now, 30 years ago, I would have bounced up, but Okay, can you give them a hand? I mean, that was a lot of information, and that's what this is about. learning what else is going on around the world, because sometimes we get involved with what we're doing, and now we are seeing what other people are doing, and now we know why the 10-point platform is still appropriate. So, Mr. Bunchen.
All right. Hope y'all enjoying everything. Free Palestine? Yeah. Free Palestine.
Come on, I can't hear you. You gotta do that.
Free Palestine.
And we also we want to acknowledge a group called Life is Living. They volunteered to help us set up the tables, the chairs, the tents. So we want to give Life is Living a big hand, please. And we want to thank It's About Time. You can go to it'sabouttime.com and you can find anything you want to know about the Black Panther Party. It's history, any events going on, and it's been run. It was set up by our comrade Billy X. Give him a hand. Billy. This is Billy X. So I mean, he has been keeping the legacy of the Black Panther Party alive for years. He's put together many events. 2 years ago, we had the 50th anniversary of the Free Breakfast Program. We had 5 years ago, we had the 50th anniversary celebration of the Black Panther Party. He has at his house in Sacramento archive, and it's like a museum. It's amazing, and he has material not just only on the Black Panther Party, but on anything that was going on in the 60s. Magazines, newspapers, posters. It's amazing. But I just wanted him to say a couple of words.
Hey, thank you very much. All power to the people. I'm glad you came out today. The sun is shining on us for the moment. So we have an exhibit over at the library. So you can walk in, take a look around. There's some pictures there you can take some photos of. But in a few minutes, about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to be serving food right along this path. There's a flag flying, red, black, and green. You can go and pick up some food there. We're going to have food here later. But most of all, I'd like to thank Life is Living for helping us develop and inviting the material and people to make this happen. I'd like to thank the speakers who came out today and all the other groups. And hold on one second. Okay, we got to make an adjustment. We have a large performance group, and we're going to need to move the chairs a little bit so they can perform. So if we can do that, I'm for sure you're going to see a dynamite performance.
Thank you all for moving the chairs. So we're trying to figure out where to do it. We're going to do it in front of the library, but because the energy is over here, all the people over here, it feels better to do it over here. We're going to do it over here. So thank you for moving the chairs. If we could just move it to the side. My name is Rashidi Omari. I'm the co-director of the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company. Destiny Arts has been around Oakland for about 30 years. We exist to inspire and ignite social change through the arts. We work with youth from 3 to 18. We have some adults. We have an elders group. What you're about to see now is a teen performance company. It's a group of 13-year-olds to 18-year-olds. And every year we produce and write our own original productions. We've been in this formation of our company since August, since the end of August, beginning of September, actually since the beginning of September. And you're going to see a piece that we've been working on for a couple weeks. We're trying to see if that's enough. Need a little more space? We're working that. We're honored to be a part of this legacy that is the Black Panther Party. Hey, not really good to see you, sir. We're proud to be a part of the Oakland legacy of resilience, revolution. I'm gonna give a shout out to my group here. We just rehearsed over there, and now we just changed it up on them, and they're a very versatile group, so we're about to work it out.
You need a plug-in?
He has them.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm ready for you guys.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do you have
An iPhone thing?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So just a little bit of call and response for the people. When I say love in, you say action. Love it. Action. Love it. Action. When I say make it, y'all say happen. Make it. Happen. Make it. Happen. When I say love in, you say action. Love it. Action. Love it. Action. When I say make it, y'all say happen. Make it. Happen. Make it. Happen. When I say destiny, you say art. Destiny. Art. Destiny. Art. When I say from the, you say heart. From the. Art. From the. Art. When I say destiny, you say art. Destiny. Art. Destiny. Art. When I say from the, you say heart. From the. Art. From the. Art. Make some noise out there, people. Okay. So now the sun has gone behind the clouds, so we have to be the sun. So y'all make some noise out there for me, please. Okay, that was better. That was harder. Before we get into the dancing, I want to call out Kai, one of our members. And she has a poem she's going to start with, and then we're going to keep it moving.
Get it poem on her.
Hi everybody, how y'all feeling today? Make some noise! Hi, my name's Kai, and I just want to share a little poem I wrote with y'all. It's called For the Love of All Things. If only you could see our reasoning to the rage, our method to the madness, our hunger for help. If only you could see our struggle for safety, the pain it takes to persist, and the heart it takes to be and maintain headstrong. If only you could see how frustrating it is to go 2 steps forward and 4 steps back, how in pain his mother was to lose someone just like that, how irritating it is for the same story to be swept under the rug as if the media had duct-tipped our lips shut. This shit is bogus. And I see where you're coming from. I always do. Because equality is everything, and everything takes 2. But how can you say all lives matter only when it's convenient for you? And how is it so easy for y'all to skew black into blue?
Say that.
Equality is the goal, but equity is how we get there. So doing things like this is the only way we can. Civility is ideal, but never heard time and time again. So you see why we must speak in a language you understand.
Say that.
Oh, it'll blow over, they say. It's just a TikTok trend. Honey, let's make one thing clear. This is not nearly the end. Because little do you know, we've been calling for help because our protectors failed to do the protecting. We've been reaching for something, anything to hold on to. We've been quiet, we've been loud, we've been fighting, we've been yelling, we've been trying, we've been walking, we've been working. He can't breathe, I can't breathe. But if only you could see our reasoning for the rage, our methods to the madness, our hunger for help. If only you could see our struggle for safety, the pain it takes to persist, and the heart it takes to be and maintain headstrong. So with that being said, here lies our silence. Here lies the duct tape that slipped off our smooth skin like butter. Here lies our compliance, our quiet longing for Dr. King's dream to become a reality. Because if only you could see why we are no longer silent, as we stand together, no matter how close to home it hits, because why do we have to say Black Lives Matter when that should be inevitable? So, open your eyes, remove the blind spot, and for the love of all things, peace.
One more time, go after the WRT Performance Company.
All right, folks. In about 5 minutes, along this path here, we're going to be serving barbecue dinner for free. Follow this path until you see the red, black, and green flag, and they will serve you up in about 15 minutes. Right now, we have some vendors here. You can circulate with them, see what they have going. Also, over at the library, there's an exhibit there, so if you want to see some Panther Legacy photos and stuff, they're inside the library. I'd like to thank a couple people who helped me put this on. Damien, Gail Shaw, my partner. I'd like to thank Jordan McDowell, who helped me put this on, and all the other people who came and volunteered to make this happen. All power to the people, and enjoy it the rest of the evening. All right, power.